So the king of AI is losing its crown, and this is something that I've seen coming for a while. OpenAI is actually falling apart from the inside. We're watching the collapse of the company that started the AI revolution. Microsoft pulled the plug on negotiation, top talent is jumping ship faster than rats on the Titanic, and their biggest acquisition just exploded in their face. But here's what's really wild. While OpenAI scrambles to keep the lights on, their competitors are absolutely eating their lunch. We saw Grok 4 release last week, and it is all the rave. The question isn't whether OpenAI is in trouble. The question is, can they survive what's coming next? So let's jump in and talk about this today and see if OpenAI, which I've never been a fan of, is going to be able to survive this. Welcome to Startup Pack. I'm Spencer, and here at Startup Pack, we train software developers and build custom software solutions for companies. With a decade of executive leadership as a fractional CTO and 25 years in software development, I've mastered transforming tech teams and products. So the OpenAI empire is absolutely starting to show its cracks, and those cracks are turning into massive fault lines. From botched acquisitions to talent exodus to funding drama, we're witnessing what might be the beginning of the end of their throne, right? Now, OpenAI is sitting on enough cash and enough of a user base and enough of a lead. They don't think that they're absolutely going to collapse, but I definitely think their time of dominance is running away quickly. Now, the other part of this too is that even though they have a lot of cash that they're sitting on and a huge user base and a huge lead, what's going to happen is you're going to see some of the tech experts massively running away from it. And I think we've already started to see that. Now, I'm going to jump into a couple of articles, but let's kind of talk a little bit about it. So OpenAI has been hemorrhaging their top tier talent at an alarming rate, with several high profile departures hitting the company recently. So key figures like CTO Mira Murati, and if I butcher any of these names, sorry all, and I'll do my best. Chief Research Officer Bob McGrew and VP of Research Barret Zoph all walked away out the door last week. When people who built your core technology start heading for the exit, it's not just a personnel issue. There's a foundational problem. So I've seen this pattern over a long time of building teams. When top talent leaves en masse, it creates a knowledge vacuum that's incredibly hard to fill. These departures aren't just about money or better opportunities elsewhere. It's a signal of a deeper issue within the company and the direction and leadership decisions. So according to the report, only one person remains from the iconic original OpenAI leadership team photo, and that's not natural turnover. It's an actual organizational crisis. Now, the other part here is that the relationship between OpenAI and Microsoft, which was once hailed as the partnership of the future, is absolutely totally strained and cracking. Microsoft invests billions into OpenAI, and they expected certain access rights, but now they're being told they can't touch key technologies that they helped fund. The Windsurfer acquisition also just became a total flashpoint when OpenAI reportedly told Microsoft they couldn't get access to the startup's IP despite their partnership agreement. This isn't just a business disagreement, it's a fundamental breakdown in trust between two companies that were supposed to be joined at the hip. Now, last night there was also another huge announcement. So a big announcement last night was that Windsurfer CEO goes to Google. OpenAI's acquisition falls apart. So OpenAI's deal to acquire the viral AI coding startup Windsurfer for $3 billion fell apart on Friday. So it's ending in a shocking twist. Google DeepMind is now hiring the CEO and co-founder. So they're hiring both of the two original founders and some of the startups' top researchers. So Google came in and just gutted Windsurfer and stole all their people and brought them over to DeepMind, right? Notably, Google is not taking a stake in Windsurfer. This is a really interesting play by Google, and will not have any control over the company. However, as part of the deal, Google will have a non-exclusive license to Windsurfer technology, meaning the AI coding startup remains free to license the technology to others. So they just gutted Windsurfer, stole all the original founders, and essentially this is Google just totally shredding it for OpenAI. And this is a terrible thing for OpenAI. This is going to be a huge hit. They'd put a lot of their eggs into this basket, right? Bloomberg reports Google is paying $2.4 billion to license Windsurfer's technology and hire its top. Basically, they just got the milk without having to pay for the cow, right? They absolutely just stole it. And of course, they're really excited. We're excited to welcome some top AI coding talent from Windsurfer's team to Google DeepMind, said Google spokesperson. Now, this deal represents the AI ecosystem's latest reverse acquire, in which companies hire startups' talent and license technology, but does not outright acquire the company. This is just where we start to see this shift around here, right? Then on top of all of this, Sam Altman says OpenAI delays the release of its open model again. again, right? When everybody's saying again, and even Altman himself here is saying, we plan to launch our open weight model next week. We're delaying it. We need time to run additional safety tests and review high-risk areas. We're not yet sure how long it's take. Sam Altman is just absolutely, like, he's spiraling, and the whole company is spiraling at this point. There's some massive problems that are going on, right? So when your biggest tech investor and strategic partner of Microsoft questions deals, Windsurfer acquisition falls apart, right? So now they thought they were going to get that team, its data, and all of that all fell apart. You have all of the exodus that's happening, right? So while OpenAI is struggling with internal chaos, Google swoops in and captures the entire core team from Windsurfer, including their CEO. This wasn't just an opportunistic hire. It was a calculated move to weaken OpenAI while strengthening Google's DeepMind division. So we're seeing a massive talent acquisition grab right now. It's the Wild West to try to grab all these folks who have built out the core of what AI is today. Now, if your team are struggling because maybe you don't have the talent that you need in-house, reach out to us, because here at Startup Hack, our specialty is helping your company connect your system so that you can work to maximum efficiency. So check out startuphack.com/Spencer. Now, Google now has the inside knowledge of OpenAI's acquisition strategy and can essentially play defense against OpenAI's moves. Now, ChatGPT 5 is also being forced to delay, right? And OpenAI has now been forced to delay ChatGPT 5, which is their main one. So not only the open source one we talked about, but even their ChatGPT 5 is being delayed. So while OpenAI struggles with GPT-5, competitors like xAI with Grok 4 shipped, and it's absolutely the talk of the town. Everybody's talking about Grok 4. It's very impressive. I still have my take on it, and I'm going to give you more of my take on Grok 4 tomorrow. So make sure you log in, because make sure you like and subscribe, and also leave a comment down below. If nothing else, say hi, because I love to answer the comments. And so make sure you hit me up in the comments. I'm getting some great comments, and it's awesome community that we're building here. But the longer that OpenAI, so back to our topic here. So Grok 4 is eating ChatGPT 5's lunch right now, right? The announcement of Grok 4 has absolutely just stolen even more people, and Grok 4 is just ramping up as fast as it can, and their user base is growing really fast. They're also coming out, the interesting thing about Grok 4 is actually being limited to people paying a fairly high amount compared to some of these other subscription models. And they're getting it. That's the interesting thing, is xAI is actually getting that. So that's more that they're stealing from GPT-5, right? Stealing from OpenAI. So the longer GPT-5 takes to ship, the more time competitors have to close the capability gap. And I think they're going to leapfrog OpenAI. I think part of the problem here is that I think Grok 4 absolutely is already better than the early benchmarks were showing for GPT-5. And I think that's one of the big hits that Sam Altman's figuring out. OpenAI cannot afford to release something that on the release is already worse than Grok 4 and somehow promise that it's going to get better. So Elon Musk's xAI dropped their Grok 4, and all of the early reports are showing that Grok 4 is already better than what Grok 5 or what ChatGPT 5 was going to be. So the timing of Grok 4's launch coincides perfectly with OpenAI's internal struggles, and it's maximizing the competitive impact. One of the things that I noticed, and I couldn't help kind of reading into, and I'm kind of a conspiracy theory when it gets to the way these inner CEOs work, but Sundar Pichai, Google CEO, complimented Elon on X on his release of Grok 4 and said it was very impressive. Now, could there be some backroom deals where Google and xAI are working to try to dismantle OpenAI's dominance? Maybe. I don't know if there's a backroom deal or if it's just there's so much play right now for that top spot that they're just willing to beat him up. But they are definitely beat him up. The timing of Grok 4's launch, the stealing of DeepMind, or the stealing of Windsurfer's executives and co-founders to bolster DeepMind is definitely coming at a time that is really, really painful for OpenAI and ChatGPT. Now, what's also coming out of left field is Chinese AI companies, particularly DeepSeek, have been releasing open source models that rival OpenAI's closed source offerings. These models are being developed at a fraction of the cost with comparable performance, and that really undermines OpenAI's premium pricing strategy. The open source approach means global developers can build on these Chinese models without paying OpenAI's API fees. Chinese companies are specifically targeting OpenAI's weaknesses, including cost efficiency and deployment flexibility. The global nature of AI competition means OpenAI can't rely on domestic market protection. They're fighting multiple fronts simultaneously. So when free or low-cost alternatives start matching your premium product's performance, your entire business model comes under pressure. Now, despite completing a $40 billion funding round with SoftBank, OpenAI's financial position is actually more precarious than it appears. The funding comes with strict conditions tied to OpenAI's transition to a for-profit status, which has to be completed by the end of this year. SoftBank and other investors are demanding clearer governance structures and more traditional corporate accountability measures. And so there's a massive valuation requires valuation requires equally massive revenue growth to justify it, putting a ton of pressure on OpenAI to monetize quickly. So if OpenAI fails to meet the for-profit conversion deadline, they risk losing a significant portion of the committed funds. So when your funding comes with ultimatums instead of unconditional support, you're operating from a position of weakness, not strength. Now, if your company has some weaknesses and you need some help getting your systems connected, reach out, because here at Startup Hack, we love to help build your system so you can work to maximum efficiency. So check out startuphack.com/Spencer. Now, OpenAI has approximately 5 months to complete its transition from nonprofit to for-profit benefit corporation. This conversion is required to secure the full $40 billion in committed funding, making it a do-or-die situation. The transition involves complex legal governance changes that could fundamentally alter OpenAI's mission and its operational approach. So all of that to happen while all of the talent is jumping ship is definitely not ideal for OpenAI and shows that they are really in trouble. Nonprofit stakeholders and mission-driven employees are pushing back against the for-profit conversion, and this is creating even a lot of internal friction. So not only is Sam Altman facing a lot of pressure from external, i.e. lots of the lawsuits from Elon Musk and others, the deadline creates a ticking clock that limits OpenAI's strategic flexibility and forces a rush decision. So when external funding dictates your organizational structure and your timeline, you've essentially lost control of your own destiny. And when Sam Altman's coming out and saying they have to delay stuff because of safety reasons, he can blame safety reasons all he wants. The reality of the matter is he is losing control. The ship has lost its ability to steer. The rudder's been absolutely demolished and he's in trouble. So OpenAI is going to be forced to release open source models to compete with Chinese alternatives, but this will cannibalize their own current revenue model. The open source approach worked for early market penetration, but it also becomes a liability when you need to generate billions in revenue. OpenAI has no revenue path forward. There's no way that they can actually make back the money that they have taken on investments. And this is going to be proven as they try to become a for-profit organization, because there is no way they can become profitable. So Google can afford to be throwing billions and billions of dollars at this because they're Google and they have deep pockets because of all of their other businesses. So they can afford to take a loss at this. OpenAI has nothing to fall back on but its funding. So when their funding strategy is going south, which we're watching very quickly, then what are they going to be left with? Their user base and their early lead. It goes to show that if you don't run this correctly, you can lose even when you're still the early leader. Now, Google also holds one other piece. They hold all the data. Google has so much data that OpenAI is clamoring to try to find and to match. Google is the data king. Now, on top of it, behind that, we also see where the strategy of Elon Musk purchasing Twitter, i.e. now X. That is also a huge leveraged ability with X, with their community notes and and all of the other things that they've built over the last 2 years since Elon's been there. It's now a huge ability to be able to source a lot of data. Now we're hearing some talks that even Google's own Elon Musk's own companies are looking to fund into XAI. So the merger between X and XAI, the ability now that SpaceX is talking about investing into XAI, and XAI is, and I'm going to talk more on this tomorrow, but XAI is now raising a $200 billion funding round. Elon Musk has already thrown more money and he is brute forcing, and there is no way that OpenAI is going to be able to compete against Google X, and now Meta's coming in from left field to steal all of their talent. So Mark Zuckerberg, who also has more money than he knows what to do with, can throw as much money and has shifted all of his work from metaverse into trying to build AI. So OpenAI is literally getting decimated from every single quarter, and the departure of key leaders creates uncertainty about OpenAI's technical direction and its strategic vision. New leadership teams need time to understand complex AI systems and to make informed decisions, but the market is not giving OpenAI the luxury of time. Institutional knowledge walks out the door with departing executives, and it makes it harder to execute on existing roadmaps. So recruiting replacement leaders of comparable caliber becomes exponentially harder when the company is perceived as unstable, which it is clearly unstable if somebody like me can already spot all these cracks. So I'm sure that Sam Altman is absolutely sweating right now. Now, it's interesting because during the Y Combinator days, I was a huge Sam Altman fan. Loved his stuff when he was during Y Combinator. Since his time at OpenAI, I think Sam has lost his way. I think the power went to his head. I think he got a God complex. And I really think that every decision he has made over the last 2.5 to 3 years at OpenAI have been bad. And I think they're coming back to bite him now. There's only so long that you can run a company under bad pretenses. He broke the OpenAI mission. I think he's not been a good leader internally. I think he's demanding things that are just literally have been impossible. I think the way he's preached that AGI was coming. I think all of these things and so many more are now coming back to bite him in terrible, terrible ways. So OpenAI's massive valuation requires sustaining growth rates that I don't think are going to happen in the coming months. The initial AI adoption wave is plateauing, meaning OpenAI needs to find a new revenue stream beyond basic language model access. Enterprise customers are becoming more sophisticated about AI procurement, and they're less willing to pay premium prices for undifferentiated capabilities. Let me say that a different way. If I'm intelligent and I know what I'm buying, I'm not buying OpenAI right now, right? I'm not going to be paying the premium prices for ChatGPT. I'm going to be going to Claude. I'm going to be going to Gemini Pro 2.5. I'm going to be going to Grok, especially with the new Grok 4 releases. So OpenAI's burn rate remains extremely high while their revenue growth is actually decelerating, creating a dangerous financial trajectory. So when market expectations exceed your ability to deliver sustainable growth, a value correction becomes inevitable rather than possible. And I think OpenAI is in deep, deep trouble. Now, again, if your company has systems that aren't connected, reach out because we'd love to help you out so that your company can work absolutely like tip-top shape. Check out starterpack.com/Spencer. Now, curious to hear what your guys' thoughts are. My favorite thing is when you guys leave a comment down below. We try to answer every single one of them personally. And so here at Startup Pack, we love to train software developers as well as to build custom software solutions for companies. So check out starterpack.com/Spencer if we can help you out. And here's some great information about some of our services.
Hi, I'm Spencer, a fractional CTO. With over a decade of executive leadership and 25 years in software development, I've transformed technology teams and products for businesses just like yours. As your fractional CTO, you get the strategic guidance of a seasoned technology executive without the full-time commitment. Perfect for companies ready to leverage cutting-edge technology without expanding headcount. My team at Startup Hack has already built advanced AI agents for small and medium businesses, automating complex workflows and delivering advanced ROI to human workflows. We specialize in creating custom software that connects your systems into a single coherent technology ecosystem. Our development approach focuses on tangible business outcomes. For one client, we developed AI-powered workflows that cut days off of human processes. For another company, by connecting multiple systems, we reduced processing time to increase their ROI by over 75%. We don't just write code, we architect solutions that scale. Whether you need cloud system architecture, data integration between legacy systems, or custom AI agents that automate your unique business processes, my team delivers results that exceed your expectations. Having led technology for a lot of companies and launched 7 successful brands of my own, I bring battle-tested expertise to your business challenges. Our specialty is turning technological complexity into business advantage. So if you're ready to harness the power of AI and custom software to drive your business forward, let's connect. Together, we'll build technology that doesn't just solve today's problems, it positions you for tomorrow's opportunities. Technology leadership, decades of experience, AI powered. Reach out today and we can help you. Check out starterpack.com/Spencer.